Hey, good evening, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hopefully, you've had a great day so far. Just want to recap a busy day in the sports world, starting with the news about LeBron James Jr. suffering cardiac arrest yesterday at practice at the University of Southern California practice facility. All reports are that he is out of the ICU and in stable condition. Obviously, you can see a lot of reaction from the sports world regarding LeBron James' son and LeBron James' family. Best wishes to them. Hopefully, a speedy recovery. Hopefully, a young man can continue on his trajectory towards a bright future and potentially playing some basketball with his dad in a few years from now. But again, all thoughts and prayers with the LeBron James family. Hopefully, everything works out great for Bronny, and this is just a hiccup in his story. All right, moving on. As I'm sure by now you've heard, Saquon Barkley decided to sign a 1 year contract with the Giants with some extra incentives on top of his base salary. He's going to be reporting to camp, according to all reports, which is good news for Giants fans. It'll give them something to cheer about during the regular season. Not much after that. Doesn't really move the needle as far as their ability to contend for a Super Bowl. I don't think they were Super Bowl contenders with Saquon. Obviously, without him, they definitely wouldn't have been. So, not much of a difference. I think the big news is that he still can be franchise tagged next year, which is bad news for him. We're going to go through this entire saga all over again next July, I'm sure, and it'll be interesting to see what happens at that point. All right, next up, I'm not sure how many of you caught this. OBJ is saying that he's thinking that this is going to be his last season. A lot of folks are interpreting that as he's going to go all out and give it everything he's got, which I have no doubt that he's going to. But I'm also reading into it a little differently. I think that he's gotten himself geared up for this offseason. I think he reported a training camp. I think he's thinking about all the work that's about to take place and all the work he's going to have to put in after all of the work he put in just to get to this point. And I think that part of him regrets coming back. I think that he doesn't want to put that much effort into it anymore. I think he just wants to go live his life, have fun, and be a young rich man. So it'll be interesting to see what happens as far as him coming back next year. Let's say he has a great season this year. Does he hang it up and ride off into the sunset with that one great season? Or does he tell himself, I could still do this and go out and risk more injury, which I don't think is something that he wants to do. I think Odell Beckham Jr. enjoys being a superstar, but doesn't necessarily enjoy putting his body on the line to do so. So it'll be interesting. I think that I'm reading into it that he's already regretting coming back, and he wishes that he was out on a beach somewhere instead of catching wobbly passes from Lamar Jackson. Next up, news out of Santa Clara. The San Francisco 49ers do not expect Nick Bosa to show up for training camp until a new contract gets worked out, which is no surprise. Why would he put himself at risk of injury when he's poised to become the highest paid defensive player in the history of the NFL? So, no big surprise. Obviously, it's big news if you're worried about him not signing a contract, which I don't think many 49ers fans or many 49ers teammates or many in the 49ers organization are concerned about. I think it's just a matter of language and specific numbers, and eventually Nick Bosa will be in camp and wreaking havoc come week one against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So again, no news here as far as surprising news, but I think that's something to keep an eye on if it lingers into week 2 or 3 of the preseason and he's still not there. In addition to the Nick Bosa news out of Santa Clara, we also found out that Brock Purdy has been cleared to return to training camp with no restrictions. The team did say he will remain on a pitch count to start training camp, but all signs indicate that he is going to be a full go and compete for the starting job with Trey Lance and Sam Darnold. Obviously, the brass has already said he is the presumed starter, assumed healthy. So I think that Brock Purdy gives the 49ers and the 49ers fans a lot of hope, assuming he can continue his level of play that he displayed last year before he was injured in the NFC Championship game. So great news for Brock Purdy, great news for the San Francisco 49ers. It looks like he is on track to be the week one starter, assuming that he is not overtaken by Trey Lance or Sam Darnold, in which case all 49ers fans should take a step back and pause because neither one of those guys has shown anything so far in their careers that leads us to believe that they're going to outplay Brock Purdy. Last but not least, on a lighter note, I think that this back and forth between Francis Ngannou and John Jones is hilarious. If any of you that are watching know me, you know that I am a huge John Jones fan inside the octagon. I think that he's the greatest mixed martial artist ever, and I think that Francis Ngannou is hilarious. But I also love John Jones's responses when Francis Ngannou tries to talk smack, especially this one here, where Francis Ngannou guarantees his opponents $2 million, and John Jones guarantees his opponents something a little less appealing, but just as entertaining. So I would love to see these two get together inside the octagon. I don't think it's ever going to happen simply because Dana White is not one of those guys that usually goes back on his word. When he says a guy is done in the UFC, typically they are. And he's stated that multiple times again about Francis Ngannou. And honestly, I don't think that Francis Ngannou wants that smoke with John Jones as much as he says he does. It'll be interesting to see if it ever does happen. All my money's on John Jones unless he's in a wheelchair. But again, I don't think it's ever going to happen. But the back and forth smack talk is definitely entertaining. So there you have it, the day in review. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on some of the topics that I brought up. Did I miss any topics that I should have talked about today? Let me know. Be sure to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and be on the lookout for more I Could Be Wrong content coming soon. In the meantime, have a great evening and thanks for watching.